Brian Jones, the newly even more powerful member of the California State Senate, is joining us to explain. Well, see, this is exciting. If you're not on the far left, which is most everybody in Sacramento in the state capitol, just to see someone rising to a new level on the right side of the political edge is nice. It's refreshing. I'm not sure if it's going to matter, but Brian Jones is here with us. Congratulations, I think. Does this make you a bigger target now, being the chair of the Republican caucus, Brian, or what?
I'm a big deal in a little pond.
So, because right now, I mean, they have a supermajority again, right, on both sides, the Assembly and State Senate, right?
We're calling it the super duper majority.
Super duper, which means what? They don't have to come to work. It's going to be on the old Gavin Newsom schedule when he was lieutenant governor and show up a couple of days here and there, or
right. Well, no. What it means is, in the Senate, it requires they need to have 26 to have the supermajority, and they have 29.
No.
So they have 3 extra seats, for the supermajority. So if they get a controversial budget coming down the pipeline, or actually budget's majority vote now, but if they get some controversial rule changes or some controversial taxes and fees that they want to increase, they can, 3 of their members can, walk away from those increases and let the other, remaining 26 raise the taxes and fees. So, basically, the pro tem, Senator Atkins, who's from San Diego, and we have a good working relationship.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of influence now in the state capitol.
So, in that environment, Brian Jones with us, newly installed California State Senator, was in the Assembly for years now, unanimously elected by the Republicans, and there are some there, as Republican caucus chair. So there's a leader, that's Shannon Grove, right? So this, in terms of who's running what in this strange environment known as Sacramento and the state capitol, that's kind of how this order works, right? So your job will be specifically to do what?
So, San Diego is a big military town, so a lot of folks understand this. The caucus chair is kind of like the XO of the unit, the executive officer.
Right,
so
okay.
We have the commanding officer, which is Shannon, and then the executive officer, which is me. So Shannon's responsibility is to kind of set the course for the caucus as far as fundraising and elections and how we're going to be effective in California. And then it's my job to make sure that the caucus remains effective in the Capitol building with our legislative priorities and our messaging priorities to the rest of the state, so that me, I'm pretty good at exposing what's going on here behind the green curtain, so to speak, and so that I'll have a bigger role in sharing with the rest of California what the majority party's up to.
And right now, I saw a report today out of, I think it was California Political Review or something like that, where they're saying, okay, all these grandiose plans, and Gavin Newsom wanting to spend money on this, that, and the other thing, and sometimes twice, because it's not as bad as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, where she just says, hey, let's find all the money from the billionaires, and they're immoral anyway, so let's just take all their money. And so if we can always pay for everything. And she has no idea.
Right.
But that's it's reality in Sacramento, too. It's not quite as out there as hers, but let's face it, Gavin Newsom has some big plans, and he has the supermajority there in the Assembly and the state Senate where you are. So how did they do that with impunity?
That's a good point. I don't, and Mark, it's too early. We really don't know what to expect with Gavin. Most of his closest supporters are billionaires from San Francisco. So I don't know that he gets away with coming up here and
he can't rail against them like an Ocasio-Cortez. Then won't do that.
I'm sorry.
He can't do it like Ocasio-Cortez is doing in Congress. Then he can't rail against the billionaires. I guess he could.
No, and I don't think he. I mean, he's got a completely different temperament than her. I mean, Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California. We have to take him serious, and he's got to take the job serious. AOC, I think, is as she's being abbreviated to. Yeah. We don't have to take her serious. She's one of 435. She's off the rails. She may be a one-term Democrat even. I got to believe that there's Democrats in her district that are already gearing up to run against her next year. she's a figment of the media industry on the East Coast, propping her up because she's a useful foil. So she's useful to the liberal media, and she's useful to the conservative media. So I don't think any of us need to get too excited about anything she proposes.
We'll just hold it back for now. So in the meantime, what have you been hearing this week? I mean, I'm sure there are some well-meaning bills. There's some good bills, and there's also some crazy stuff. Is there any new crazy there this week that we need to know about? Because, again, you can have thousands of proposed bills. They all cost taxpayers something. Most of them go off and die in a dust heap of whatever it is. And then several hundred, or in this last chance, about 1,000 bills have to make it to the governor. So a lot of lawmaking going on there.
It's believe it or not, Mark, it's actually been kind of quiet on the legislative front. So the deadline is next Friday. No, the deadline's tomorrow.
Wait a minute, how could that be? Is this a new, or is it just going to be a document or a legislation dump like out of a big truck tomorrow? Just back it up and dump it.
Well, people have probably been putting their bills in all week. This week there'll be a big dump tomorrow, absolutely. And the reason we're not hearing about them is because it takes the legislative analyst's office, or the legislative counsel's office to some time to get through them and get the language put together. So those will all be back to us in the next couple of weeks, and then committees will start next month. But the craziest thing that happened this month is actually kind of funny. I think California Family Council has it up on their website. Hannah Beth Jackson, who is the chairwoman of, or I can't say woman, she's the chair they.
Chair they is now the official one. Well, that's going to be, I can't wait to hear how much time that takes just tripping up the language and debates in the Capitol.
Well, get this. So she spent, 5 minutes at the first Judiciary Committee saying that we're in a new era in California where we're gender neutral and there's no he's and she's anymore. And so it's they, them, and their. And so she goes into spends 5 minutes on this whole deal. And then, like, the very next item is a bill that comes up recognizing grammar or something. And she immediately, in the next 5 minutes, says her, him, she, he over 15 times.
You ought to set a buzzer. There should be a buzzer in there.
Bill.
That should be in there. Like it goes, it's just every time that they say the wrong PC word is just that pointed out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's California Family Council that has the video. You should pull it up and take a look at it. And then look, this is not reality. I mean, the amazing thing we've got business owners in San Diego County, CEOs, and then we've got people that make the economy work, people that go to work every Monday through Friday, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, bus drivers, everything, restaurant workers, everybody that listens to your radio program deals with real issues every day to make their life better, first and foremost, and then second of all, extra time that they take, volunteering for different things, contributing money to different things. And then we've got the legislature up here talking about we're not going to have male and female pronouns.
That's if you know that every Californian is going, huh? I mean, there's some. They're like, yeah, that's the most important thing. Well, not necessarily.
Right.
I got to ask you.
Judiciary Committee. This is one of the most important committees in the Capitol.
Yeah, and that's where they're hung up. And real quickly, your former Assembly colleague, Brian Mainshine, who was a San Diego City Council member, has jumped ship from Republican to over to the Democratic barge. And Lorena Gonzalez announced that today on her Twitter feed, showed a nice group photo. There he is with Todd Gloria and so forth. So what does that tell us?
I have no idea, Mark.
Is that a matter of no Republican can win, so he'll go to the other side? Is that what that is?
Yeah, and to me, Brian's done a pretty. So, hey, I got a question for you, and maybe you can take some calls on this afterward. How does Reagan's 11th commandment work on this now? Reagan's 11th commandment is never speak evil or badly about another Republican.
Well, that's gone out in the age of Trump. That's so quaint now. I know what you mean, but
Yeah. So is that off? Now that he's a Democrat, can we say whatever we want? But I'm not gonna. I mean, Brian's a friend, and
Well,
I'm very disappointed. He obviously, he didn't talk to me about it. I
yeah,
don't.
but
Really talk to him.
you, Brian Jones of apparently the All Brian Club here. You, Brian Jones, will be staying. Your Republican caucus, bigwig there in Sacramento, and that starts officially March 1st. I understand that, which is a great deal. Congratulations, right. I think. Just be careful because you're a bigger target. But you're not going to move to another party at some point. Or you wouldn't have been vetted.
I was talking to one of my I was talking to one of my Republican colleagues in the Senate yesterday. I go, because we kind of got a heads up that this might be happening. And I said, wouldn't you just rather leave office than have to change parties? I mean, is this job, so fantastic that you have to change parties to keep the job? And we both were like, no, we'd rather stay home than, change our principles, change our parties, sell out, whatever. I'd rather stay home than change parties. So no, I'm not changing parties.
All right. Well, good luck. Have a lovely weekend.